Hey, this is ashbass. I'm going to demo for you here the results of a modification for the Zoom G5, G3, and G3X multi-effects pedals. One of the problems with all of the effects pedals that I just mentioned is that even though they have 22 different amp models, which is cool, each amp model is permanently assigned a cabinet. And when you're switching through amps, they automatically have the cabinet turned on or activated. Now what I like is to have the amp models with cab off so that I can hear what the amps sound like through my gear or through my cabs, and then I can put the cab on if I want it. Right, so here I've zoomed in on the MS Crunch model. I'm going to take a look at all the steps that it's going to take me to get to the screen where I can change the cab or turn the cab off. We're going to start by having to press the page button 3 times. 1, 2, 3. That gets me to the 3rd page of parameters or settings for this model. I have presence is 50 and cab is currently MS Crunch, matching the amp. So now let's get rid of MS Crunch. I'm going to have to turn this knob to the right until I get all the way to the right and reach off. So now I can hear what this amp model sounds like by itself through my setup. Let's say I want to surf through some amps. I've got 22 available to me, so I'm going to take a look at some others. I'm going to press page again. It gets me back to a main screen for the amp model. And now I'm going to press the type button and look at a different model. So this one is my MS 1959. And as before, I want to hear what this sounds like through my cabinets. So I want to turn off the cabinet emulation. Here again, 1, 2, 3, and turn, 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 turn. Press page again. I'm back at the amp and I can now listen to it and hear what it sounds like. If I want to check out a different one, once again, 1, 2, 3, turn, 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 and now I can listen to that amp. So these steps are pretty tedious. Really kind of slows you down when you're just looking to sample through the amps and hear what they sound like, again, through your cabinets. So what I did was, I took a look inside the latest, most recent firmware updates from Zoom, and I found where the cabinets are assigned to their amplifiers or amp models. And what I did was to update Zoom's updater so that all of the amps had, instead of cabinet on, they have cabinet off. So after my mod, I'm going to be able to run through this list like we just did, and the cabinets are going to automatically be off, instead of what we've seen here with me having to go through the page button and the knob turning to do it manually. As I mentioned before, I updated one of Zoom's firmware updaters. So I have to do the same process to get my changes into the system as I would have to do to get Zoom's changes into the system. And the first thing I have to do is power down the unit. So I'll reach back here, get my power button, off. Alright, so now I need to start the G5 up in update mode. And to do that, I need to press and hold both foot switches 1 and 2. And while they're pressed, turn the power back on. And what should happen is one of the middle panels here says ready for version update. Yeah, I'm going to walk over to the computer now and run the updater. Alright, well that was pretty quick. The version update is complete, and my modified changes have been added to the firmware of the G5. So I'm going to power off and power back on again, and then we'll check out those amp models. Okay, here we are back again looking at MS Crunch. Now I can't use MS Crunch as an example because it's an existing patch, and whatever settings it had, cab-wise or any otherwise, are already going to be there, and my updater is not going to modify those. But I do want to take a look at some of the additional models. And that's where we're going to see the magic of the updater that I just ran. So let's go to the left. And there's our B breaker. I'm going to press page 3 times. And look at there, cab off. Let's go in the different direction. Let's look at that MS 1959 again. I'll go press 3 times. The cab is off. MS drive, off. BGN drive, off. So that's pretty much what this little mod does. It's basically just exactly the same firmware that runs without this little mod. All that's changed is the cab settings are turned off for each of the amplifiers. Now, if you're interested in maybe getting your G5 or your G3 or G3X to act similarly, you want to take a look at my webpage, ashbass.com. Go to the Zoom pages. I have a section for the ashbass cabs off mod, and everything that you need to get it done is going to be right there on the page for you. So thanks for taking a look. Hope this is something you find useful.